Kevin Bowen, Colts.com featured writer, joining us now on the Menard Studio Hotline as he does each and every Tuesday at 4:30. And here, Kevin, I was so ready to talk about some good stuff. They get the win over Denver. They gutted out. They played really good football. Here we go. Momentum shifting, and then this takes place. So take us through when the announcement was made, because I heard it on Russillo and Cannell that airs before us about 2:30, 20 till 3. How quickly did you find out about the Andrew Luck situation?
Yeah, there's never a dull moment with the 2015 Colts. That's for sure. But, I think we got an email around like 2:45 saying there'd be a conference call with Chuck Pagano at 3. And right then I was just like, what? Why? Basically, the players and the coaches, their last media availability for the week was Monday. The Colts were able to talk to assistant coaches, the media was able to talk to assistant coaches earlier today. And then that was supposed to be the last media availability until Monday, when the players get back together and start the preparation for Atlanta after the bye week. So once that email surfaced, it was like, okay, something's happening, and you're really confused why, because you're following up your best performance of 2015. So it can't be a coaching change like it was the week prior. So it was all very sudden and a shock, because obviously he finished the game, and finished the game very well on Sunday. So I don't think anyone saw this coming. Do they know what play it was this took place? I know Pagano's quote was it was a scramble trying to pick up a first down early in the fourth quarter. But, I mean, have they pinpointed which one they believe it took place during? Yeah, there's a play at the start of the fourth quarter, and if for anybody out there who has a game DVR or NFL Rewind or something, it's the first play of the fourth quarter, and it was a scramble near the Colts end zone, and it was a second down play. Luck scrambles for 4 yards, and he gets hit initially kind of in the midsection by Denver's linebacker number 59, Danny Trevathan, I believe is how you say it, and then Vance Walker, one of their defensive linemen, kind of sandwiched Luck and hit him right after that, kind of in the back, kind of the lower back area. So that's when that was Luck's only scramble of the fourth quarter. So that, I believe, is when the hit happened. And then again, it's remarkable that he not only stayed in the game, but threw a touchdown to Ahmad Bradshaw on the next play. And I believe he ended the game like 5 of 7 after that. So if you go back and watch the TV copy, he kind of winces a little bit after the Bradshaw touchdown, which was 2 plays after the injury. So something was up then, but, I mean, how many times have you watched him play, or I watched him play, and you just sit there and be like, how is he getting up from that hit? And, I distinctly remember a bunch of groans kind of in Lucas Oil Stadium and throughout the press box, when he got up from that hit specifically. And again, it's been something that he just always seems to get up from these hits, and unfortunately now this one is very, very serious. Did you get the impression in talking to him after that game, when the locker room and the media availability, that that he was experiencing any pain at that point when he was talking to the press after the game on Sunday? That's a good question. I now looking back on it, I would say that he was a little more even-keeled than I thought he would be. Now, I mean, Andrew Luck is never, hooting and hollering after wins, and he's not, Phillip Rivers on the sideline or anything, but he was very even-keeled and was just kind of, looked pretty similar to how he had been for all of 2015. So I think obviously the physical toll was weighing on him at that point, but again, I mean, he changed in the locker room in front of the media like he normally would, and from reading the press release and listening to Chuck Pagano, it sounds like when Luck came in the building Monday, as all the players did, that's when he really started to feel it, and then obviously the diagnosis came down earlier today. Well, I know that Pagano said they're not going to rush him out there until they feel like he's ready to go, or 100%, or whatever he wanted to do. So at least the 2 to 6 week time frame, it's obviously that gives some cushion there. I don't foresee him being back as soon as 2 weeks, but maybe not quite 6 either. But regardless of that, it's Matt Hasselbeck's show to run now. We've been talking about it. It feels like they really ran through the gauntlet of their schedule with the Patriots, the Saints, the Panthers, the Broncos. The rest of this schedule, I hesitate to use the word easy in the NFL, because they're all tough games, because it's the upper level of football. But at least it feels like the remaining games on this schedule are a little less
I don't know how I want to word it. It seems the schedule seems to lighten up a little bit as the season goes
Definitely.
on. You still got the remaining 3 games against the Jaguars, the Texans, and the Titans. The Falcons are up next, Buccaneers, Steelers, and Dolphins. So what are the expectations for Matt Hasselbeck? Do they change any of the play calling? Is it going to be more of what we saw with Jacksonville and Houston when he was in? How do you see this going from here on out?
Yeah, I would say the schedule definitely eases up. You were dead on, and the Colts have gotten through kind of their gauntlet of the season, and I really only expect them to be underdogs probably in 2 of their final 7 games, probably at Atlanta and at Pittsburgh, and that's with Matt at the quarterback position. And I think you have to follow a similar game plan to what we saw Sunday against Denver, and that was just, okay, simplifying things a little bit, get the ball in your hands of your playmakers. I mean, we saw T.Y. Hilton on a 30-yard kind of drag route where it was just, okay, get the ball out to T.Y. Hilton, let him do the rest. Even that Ahmad Bradshaw touchdown in the fourth quarter, it was, okay, get the check down to Bradshaw, Denver's going to blitz, let Bradshaw do the rest. So I think that's got to be more what we see here in the coming weeks. And then Frank Gore as well. You know, we've talked about Frank a lot this year. I mean, 28 carries on Sunday against Denver. That's one of his highest totals ever in his 10 seasons. So I think that old pitch count that we've talked about before, that'll be something to monitor the rest of the season. But that script you saw on Sunday, wasn't, yes, Andrew made some plays with his legs, kind of out of the playbook sort of plays. But for the most part through the air, he was, he wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It wasn't like, 60-yard bombs that the Colts were striking and just hitting on a bunch of big plays. I mean, they methodically moved their way down the field against the league's best defense. And, 12 of 20 on third down is a number that just teams don't put up against Denver. So that's what Matt is going to have to do. And I think this team should have plenty of confidence in what Matt did 2 starts. And now he's going to be healthy because, as we all know, he was sicker than I think anyone could have imagined for that Thursday night win down in Houston back in early October. So Matt Hasselbeck had a chance to be a starting quarterback back in February and March when he was a free agent, and he wanted to come back to Indy to win a Super Bowl. And I don't think he could have thought he'd be playing this big of a role and playing upwards to half the season as the Colts starting quarterback.
Colts.com featured writer Kevin Bowen, our guest. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3 and online, ESPNEvansville.com. Let's go back to the game on Sunday. One of the more complete games I've seen them play all season, if not the most complete game I've seen them play all season. In watching it from home and listening to Bob Lamey and Jim Sorgi, the call on the radio side of things. Obviously, as you mentioned, Chudzinski's in there. Maybe they simplify the playbook a little bit. But do you think something had to be maybe there was a little bit of a fire lit up in the players because Hamilton got fired and they maybe felt like there was some of their responsibility for that, and they just really, this was the wake-up call they needed to finally put together a complete game of football?
Yeah, no, I think, the players were very honest earlier in the week about, you do feel some responsibility and, Pep being let go. And I thought the biggest key on Sunday, and we talked about this in the pregame show, and, I think I mentioned this to you, and we've talked in past weeks with you guys on how important fast starts are for this team. And, for me, I was thinking, if you give it a second quarter 0-0 and just let yourself breathe a little bit, it feels like the Colts have not, until Sunday, had not let themselves really get into a game plan all season long outside of maybe the New England game and the Houston game. And, not only do you get a big lead, but you're up 17-0 midway through the second quarter, and now you don't have to abandon, what you had been working on all week, and now you can dictate, how things are going to go for the rest of the game from a calling standpoint. So I thought that was the biggest key on Sunday was that Denver hadn't allowed a first quarter point all season long, and that's a very physically imposing defense, and I think you saw it there late with some of their chippiness. They kind of try to impose, their will on you. And I thought the Colts did a great job of setting the tone early that, okay, Frank Gore from 7 yards out on that first drive. And obviously the Mike Adams interception helped things out as well. But I thought it was vital for that team to get off to a fast start. And now, potentially something to build on, albeit with a different quarterback here for, 2 to 6 weeks.
How is Dwayne Allen's eye today?
we talked to Dwayne on Tuesday, or on Monday. Sorry, all my days are a little bit mixed up. But I talked to him on Monday, and I mean, it definitely didn't look 100% healed. He kind of was blinking a few times, during his media session, and it didn't look right. And so obviously I expect him to fully be ready here a week from Sunday when the Colts have to go to Atlanta. And I'm sure you guys saw that in the last about 15 minutes, Keith Khalid's appeal was denied, so he will be suspended without pay. I think Darren Ravel tweeted like around $380,000 that he will cost himself with that one-game suspension.
Well, that actually, I had not had a chance to see that yet. So you've broken some news for us here, Kevin, and now I see it. Yeah, NBC Sports tweeted it out about 5-6 minutes ago that appeal had been denied. So. Also on the injury front, and then we'll let you go. What's the status of Mike Adams, and how in the world did T.Y. Hilton end up playing on Sunday when he was in a walking boot earlier in the week and up until earlier that day? I mean, Adam Schefter and all these ESPN guys are going, it's highly unlikely he plays today, and he played a big role in that game.
Yeah, he's on my fantasy bench, too. Thanks, Schefter.
Trust me, I had several fantasy owners being like, I thought you said he wasn't going to play. So, there's one of the things with T.Y. that I think we've learned over the past couple of years is he does tend to play through some of these nagging injuries, and this one, I guess, is a little bit more than nagging. I mean, he talked after the game that he said that he was told by the doctors it would take 4 weeks to truly heal, and then not only does he go out there and play, but he produces one of his higher clips of the season against a very good secondary. So, T.Y., that was a pretty remarkable effort out of him. Mike Adams said today on local radio that he's healthy, a little bit banged up, but doesn't appear to be anything too serious, which I think when we all watched that replay and you kind of saw his left ankle, left foot get caught in the turf, I think people really feared the worst there, and everybody knows just how the key of a guy Mike Adams has been. He's really the quarterback of that defense, definitely the quarterback of that secondary. So you already lost Henry Anderson, which in my opinion is one of the most indispensable guys on this team. I mean, I thought Arthur Jones was the top 5 guy that you couldn't afford to lose at the start of the year, and then when you lost him, I thought Henry Anderson just plugged right into there, and he had been playing like anything but a rookie. So it's a crazy. It's probably the most injuries the Colts have had coming out of the game in 2015, and I guess it's fitting or weird or whatever you want to say that it comes after their best performance. So you lose arguably your best defensive player. I think you could make the case Anderson has been that in 2015. You lose your starting quarterback for right around anywhere up to about a month and a half, and the good news, I guess, is it looks like you won't lose Mike Adams. There's never a dull moment with the 2015 Colts, and right. So much for a quiet bye week.
Yeah, no kidding. Tell me about it. I didn't expect to have this conversation with you today. I expected to talk about all the things they did right against Denver, and then the stuff hit the fan, so to speak. Real quick before we let you go, some names that may fill in for Henry Anderson.
Yeah, Billy Wynn is a guy to watch. He's played a decent amount this year for the Colts, number 99. He came over from Cleveland before the start of the year. The Colts made a trade really just before the start of the regular season for Wynn. He's a guy that started games in the NFL before with Cleveland. I think when he has played this year, he's played pretty well, kind of in a reserve role. And then Zach Kerr, number 94, undrafted free agent last year, has really produced at a nice level as well when he's been called upon. But again, those guys are now going to play totally different roles than what they had been playing previous. And Kendall Langford and David Perry, the 2 starters next to Anderson, have been playing at a very high level in 2015, and the Colts are obviously going to need that to continue here really for the rest of the season, because not only did you lose Arthur Jones, now you've lost Henry Anderson for a defensive line group that I think has played pretty well through the first half or so of the 2015 season.
Kevin Bowen, Colts.com featured writer, joining us every week, 4:30 here on Tuesdays. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville, 105.3 online, ESPNEvansville.com. Of course, give Kevin a follow on Twitter at KBowenColts. Always appreciate the time, Kevin. We'll talk again next Tuesday.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good one.